Hey guys, Mike here over in Taiwan, and I'm talking to you again from my restaurant, the restaurant that I usually always go to. Guys, I want to talk to you about two things. One is emotional suppression, and the other one is people who don't say no. I think that it's kind of like a perfect storm here in Taiwan, and people are always wondering why is it that people don't want to stay in Taiwan. They want to leave Taiwan because there's foreigners here. They come here, and the life is pretty convenient for them. They can go wherever they want. They have a pretty good transit system. You know, it's safe to go out at night. The salary is pretty competitive. So foreigners are always wondering like why is it that people they want to leave Taiwan, but it's part of the kind of the culture that they have here. So one of the things is that when kids are growing up here or babies or whatever, parents will just tell them, like literally they tell them be quiet, but they tell them like in a different way when they're crying. So it's kind of like the solution to crying or getting mad or something like that when you're a kid is just suppress your emotion, and that's like super unhealthy. And people don't really have here kind of a way, like a conduit or like some way to just kind of like funnel their emotion into something else, whether it's dancing, singing, painting, or even if it's like martial arts or something. I think that's probably a minimum or like a minute amount of people in society that actually they do stuff like that. But the other part is saying no, right? Because like when I was in the subway or the MRT or train or whatever, and it was a really crowded day on the Sunday, so and I'm basically there's no room in my opinion, but I guess like the old ladies, like they thought otherwise, so they're all trying to crowd in. They're like, oh, I'm like, there's no room here, and she's like, oh no, if you go like a little bit further in, like there's more room, blah blah blah. And I guess kind of in a way she was like right, but just looking at it at face value, what was it? Was there like a room, like they basically have to squish inside, which was really uncomfortable. And I mean, I know that there's like a place that they want to go. So we went a couple stops down, and these two tall guys are coming in. They're like, yeah, excuse me, like give me the room, whatever. So they were like standing like right beside me, and not so much like they were like touching me all the time, but it was like they would like put their hand up and then like they brush my bag or something, which was pretty uncomfortable. But I already told them, I said, there's no room here, don't come here, right? But it's kind of like they feel that no is like no but not really no. So somebody says to you no, and that means that you need to find another way, which is not, it's not really functional in society. So it's kind of like they keep going to whatever they're like in their mind. They're thinking I want, and then somebody says no to them, and then they just find another way to do it instead of trying to like check themselves and be like, hey, you know what, maybe I probably shouldn't do this thing. And it can cause a lot of different problems. Taking responsibility. It's like if you are, they're saying no to you, and then you say yes, I want this thing, right? But then say something happens, like I don't know, some car hits somebody or something, or there's some physical altercation. And then after that, they'll say, oh no, I didn't mean it that way or whatever. But yeah, you did, because you didn't stop, right? So it's like you got to stop. You got to have that kind of emotional, just to tell yourself that maybe this is not the right way to go ahead and do something. So I think that's something that needs to be corrected, I think, and the more that, because there's a lot of like foreigners like coming in here, and a lot of people getting married, having kids, some people settling down. Yeah, I get it that when you're in Rome, do as the Romans do. You got to acclimatize to the society, but at the same time, when you're with a situation, like for me, because I have this certain kind of different approach from a lot of people. I think it's kind of like a martial arts oriented approach. Believe it or not, unless you're like maybe a boxer, maybe a wrestler or something, kind of the code for people who do like martial arts or whatever is to not fight, because like you don't want to hurt people, and peace. And I know maybe I sound like I'm a hippie when I say stuff like that, but the point is that I don't want to have that confrontation, you know. And I'm just kind of like thinking to myself, is it really worth it to get into a fight with somebody on the MRT? Is it really worth it to, you know, have this guy try to punch me when we're just, you know, just walking or whatever it is? I'm never going to see this person ever again. So, you know, that's kind of the advice that I would give anybody who's coming here, anybody who's going to be staying here for a long time, is that, will you see this person ever again? And the chances are it's probably not, right? So, like, I'll give you an example. This lady who just came into the restaurant, I've never seen her before. She's fairly attractive, probably in her 30s though, so she's not in her prime. And, you know, that may sound a little bit misogynistic, and forgive me, I'm sorry, but so she's looking at me like I'm looking at her. She probably expects that everybody's going to be looking at her. The whole time that she was here, I had my back to her. I don't care. But the point is that there's a certain way that she thinks that people are going to react to her, and maybe there's like a little bit of pretty privilege there. And I'm not saying that she necessarily has to stop, but at the same time, you know, not everybody's going to react the same way. Not everybody's going to let you do whatever you want. When I was over at the clinic one time, I saw this kid with this lady, and he kept looking at me like he wanted to like fight me or something. And I understand it's because he's hurting, because maybe he needs his medicine. I need my medicine or something at that point too, right? But it just seemed like it was going to be some type of like an argument or something. And I tried to talk to him in Chinese, and it probably didn't. I probably should have shut my mouth and just say nothing. A lot of it's weird how a lot of these situations that like I come to in Taiwan, I think probably the better way to deal with it is just shut my mouth and say nothing. It's like it's not really my place to kind of deal with some of these people, because like I said, I'll never see them again. I remember the first time I got bumped when somebody was like, I was trying to like bring my coffee downstairs and they didn't give me enough room. And that has to deal with like in Taiwan, like people, they have like myopia. They can't see like outside. You know, most of them, they have glasses, so they can only see like this narrow view of whatever. I don't know why I had this idea to like have this soup like with like this little narrow container, and then somebody bumped me and the burning soup like went all over me. So then I got mad at this big guy, and then he's like mad at me like he's trying to fight me. I think there's probably 2 times where I've had this situation where some big dude, they wanted to fight me, and all I could think about is that I want to stay here, so leave me alone. I don't know, maybe those stories are a little bit too personal or whatever, right? But yeah, like the advice that I give to foreigners that are trying to stay here, trying to live here, is that people are really emotionally suppressed here, so they're going to get angry. People are used to you saying yes to whatever they're saying, so when you say no, they also get angry as well. So even though this anger issue is probably not the same, it's like a Japan. You know, they have this kind of underlying thing of anger that they'll never say to you directly, but it'll probably come out directly when, you know, you see them spaz out in the grocery store or whatever. Maybe you'll never see it. Maybe they'll only do it at home. But I don't want to be that type of person. I just want to kind of live my life. That's another thing here. I don't know if you guys heard that, but somebody's brake is broken on their bicycle. And, you know, people don't understand here that that's like metal on metal. And even like with the scooters, like they won't fix their brakes here. And they'll just think, okay, yeah, I can stop, right? Yeah, but you're wrecking your vehicle, dude, at the end of the day. So, I don't know. Part of me, I'd probably say 30% of me is like wondering, like, why the hell am I still here? But 70% of me knows that there's like something that I need to do, and I need to push myself to go live here. And you know, there's worse places that I could be. And yeah, for now, Taiwan is home. So I'll see you guys later. Bye.